Hello everyone. So continuing from the last video, I spoke heavily on the 6th house versus 12th house because it was just sudden inspiration. I really wanted to talk about. I ended up randomly picked 6th house and 12th house. So this is important because I wanted to do a mini series about what exactly happens, what exactly are the important lessons when it comes to when Rahu is in your 12th house and Ketu is in your 6th house. I will try to be a little bit more detailed in explaining what the 6th house and 12th house is, and then hopefully I will tell you exactly what are the lessons when it comes to Rahu in the 12th house and Ketu in the 6th house. And yes, I say important lessons, not lesson, not one, multiple, because these two areas are independent areas but of different two opposite themes. I think that's pretty important. Like they're two different themes and then they're independent areas, so they're not related. They're not directly related, at least. Their themes are directly opposite, but they're not related. So this is a big deal for me. So if you guys, hopefully, if you guys are willing to listen, please listen up. This is very important. So for 6th house, commonly 6th house in Google, I check, is about daily routines, work, health, service, and discipline. There seem to have not a pattern actually. It could also be about mundane stuff, the practical stuff like job duties, self-care, fitness, etc. And for other YouTubers, it's about work, health, service. It could be also about healing, mastery to healing. It could be about work, health, and humility as well. And so for MTZ, it's about self-improvement, refinement, growth, routine everyday work, health, diet or methods or habits, and crafts, etc. instead. So there seem to not have a pattern. Then I will show you the pattern. No, actually I will show you the pattern. The 6th house is actually decoded by the key phrase of right effort. Now, right effort could actually be divided into two main classes. So the 6th house actually has even two subcategories by itself. So one of them is directed towards meditation. So it's about health, right? It's about health, maybe something like discipline. Anything that is directly more towards meditation methods. And I know it's a little bit more difficult to understand. So if you guys want to, you guys might want to consult any teachers from Theravada sect or tradition. They have a better idea about what meditation is. They can teach you that. So basically, okay, this is the first class. The second subclass is about the normal stuff, right? The mundane stuff, which is right action but on right effort. So it's like kind of like, okay, your skills of living, your efficiency in skills of living, that help you to earn an income. So the first subclass is about efficiency in attaining meditation. The second one is about the efficiency in skills of living. That's how I put it. So 6th house, when it's about Ketu, it's about trying to transcend your normal efficiency, your normal methods of efficiency. Because when we have a chart, we kind of tend to be take an identity and live within it. I think it's kind of like how you say in Chinese, 安住在这个身份里面. It's kind of like you feel safe within that an identity, you try to work within it, right? And Ketu is essentially you try to transcend your normal methods or your comfort zone, your normal methods of efficiency, and then learn to transcend it into right effort. For sixth house specifically, it is called right effort. And so that is something that is a very big deal to me because I only discovered it like literally 3 days ago. So it was a very big deal for me. So I think I should share now before I start to forget again. So this is very important. So what is right effort? Right effort in the religious sense is very complicated, but in a mundane sense, I think I can tell you how to say it. Is to um, is to keep and continue to develop what is important when it comes to skillful actions, where it's your skills of living, right? Your skills of living is about living righteously, right? And then also about keeping what is important when it comes to skillful actions when it comes to meditation, because meditation itself is also skillful. And it's also about not only about it is about keeping what is important when it comes to all skillful actions, whereas is living skills or meditation, it's also about discarding what is not important when it comes to your skillful actions, or just what are the unskillful actions when it comes to that can lead to living wrongfully, or like meditation goes wrong, right? So I think that's important, and that is, I think, the correct way of understanding K2, especially specifically in sixth house. Each house has a different kind of lesson, but the core idea of K2 is to transcend your normal ways of that house and then transcend it into an actual path factor. It's kind of like the same thing, but you independent of any nourishment or your your usual ways of doing those stuff, right? It's not to say you don't do that stuff. You just independent or not being attached to your own ways of, you know, your habits in that house specifically. Like there's a interpretation about sixth house. It means habits, so it's habits of habits. I don't know. I don't think it's true, but it just to say like that, right? Transcend your usual habits of your usual habits. That's how I say it. So, okay, this is already 8 minutes actually. Um, how about K2 in 12th house, right? I think K2 in 12th house is about. This is not very easy for me to that one. So because I don't have a Rahu in 12th house, so I will try to explain it as best as I can. It is probably something like you don't really explore this kind of area in your past life, if you believe in past life or in your past, right? Or even in this life, when you usually the pattern you can see, you usually don't explore how to uh, how to spend your money daily. You just like maybe follow others' opinions about daily expenses. Maybe you don't develop your own ways of spending your money, right? Daily expenses, because 12 hours is about physical manifestations, about physical dreams, but it's mainly about daily expenses, which is the opposite of 12 house is the opposite of second house and fourth house. So I think that's important to keep in mind. And so 12 house is about trying to explore new ways of spending your finances and your expenses. Now I do want to give you guys a heads up about Rahu in 12th house. And Rahu in 12th house, something you have to be careful is that when your you're spending your daily expenses too willy nilly, you can get into like wrong action and then try to like not spending your daily expenses righteously. And so that is important to keep in idea to balance the between your 12th house, which is a decode key phrase is called right livelihood, and your right action. Now this is something to clear in mind. 12th house is directly opposite to 6th house, but right livelihood is not directly opposed to right effort. Right livelihood instead is directly opposed to right action, which is more towards either the 2nd house or the 4th house. So it's something, if you want to understand more about how to live righteously, you should also look at your 12th house and 4th house. But basically the core idea is that when you, even if you spend a lot of money, one is that you can spend a lot as much as you like it's like exploring. It's not spend as much as you like, but you should not be denied the opportunity to explore how do you spend your money. And if it's a good idea, you can always ask other people for money too, if you really want to. If it's something not too too big of an amount, you can always ask other people to say, okay, can you give me some money so I can spend on it, right? I think that is something. And also, you remember not to try not to have any violent behavior or oppressive behavior, right? Violent behavior, okay, it's very easy to understand. Oppressive behavior is about no stealing or no taking what is not given, right? You should not take what is not given, but you should not be embarrassed to ask of others for money if you really want to spend on something that is, I think, important to you, right? Because they are like obviously Rahu needs exploring more options, but also Rahu, there's still a 12th house, there are still two signs, there are still two main groups of stuff that you usually purchase. I think if it's something very important to you, then there's nothing wrong, and you should not be embarrassed to ask of someone else to give you money to spend on it if you really need, especially for Rahu in 12th house. Just remember, you don't want to, even if you try to ask someone else of money, this kind of method or other methods, those methods should try to follow as least violent as possible, as least oppressive as possible, and least deceitful as possible. So this is like a good rule of thumb when it comes to exploring new options of spending your money. So yeah, this is the conclusion of what are the important lessons for you, especially when it comes to Rahu in 12th house and Ketu in 6th house. So hopefully you guys find it easier to understand and understand the law behind the scenes logic and reasoning behind this kind of star or zodiac pattern or placement. So this is the end of the video. Thank you very much.